With me now is Republican strategist and former communications director for Paul Ryan's vice presidential bid, Kevin Sheridan, and national political reporter for The Hill, Jonathan Swan. Thank you both for joining us, both of you guys in Washington, of course. Kevin, take us inside the Republican Party. How are GOP insiders responding to these recent comments by the Republican nominee?
Well, I think everyone's a bit frustrated at this point. This is so unnecessary. This is such a beatable candidate that we're facing. The party was never perfectly united, and it still isn't, but it came together. Its leaders, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, most of the Senate and House behind our nominee, not the first choice for most people. But you know, that's who the voters selected, and now we're trying to unite, and we've got a candidate who is now training his fire to distract from his other distractions back onto the GOP leaders who are actually supporting him. So it's a frustrating spot for everyone, and I don't know where this ends up, but it's not a good place to be right now.
Jonathan, you sent out a tweet today. I think got more than 400 tweets. You spoke to a donor, one of Trump's donors this morning, who told you, quote, "I would break his effing thumbs if I could." I want to know what prompted the donor to say that. How was the rest of that phone call too?
Well, it's not just a donor. This is one of Trump's top fundraisers, so someone who has to make phone calls to the wealthiest donors in the Republican ecosphere. And it would actually be impossible for me to overstate the frustration and in the Trump fundraising circles. These are guys who have to convince often very hesitant donors that they should put their money behind Donald Trump, and often 6 or even sometimes 7-figure sums. And he just went on a expletive tirade, just saying what is wrong with this guy. You know, no one can talk sense to him. Paul Manafort, his campaign chairman, can't talk sense to him. He doesn't listen to anyone, and he just keeps lashing out at everyone except for Hillary Clinton. They're like, why don't you just turn your fire on Hillary Clinton instead of going after Paul Ryan and continuing this feud with the parents of a gold star?
And, you know, Jonathan, he's made a point throughout this campaign to say he doesn't really need the money, that he can sort of bankroll this all on his own. But it's not the case going into the general, is that?
He said that during the primary. Once he realized that general election costs probably more than $1 billion, he changed that tune fairly quickly. He's now got about 3 or 4 super PACs, outside groups raising money for him. Trump is actively soliciting money. He's got a fundraising team trying to get money. Trump is not going to be self-financing his general election campaign. He needs the money.
And Kevin, we know Trump tweeted out this morning responding to all of this that there is great unity in my campaign, perhaps greater than ever before. It seems to be the counter of what we're hearing. What's his strategy here?
Well, that's Donald Trump trying to bend the universe to his own his own delusions. It's not united perfectly, and you know, he could make some steps to do that if he would just focus on the economy, focus on Hillary Clinton's problems, bring the party together, stop picking fights with the wrong people, stop picking fights with surrogates, stop picking fights with people in the party. And I think, you know, we would have a chance to win this thing as Republicans, but you know, it is not a united party, and that's just that's a silly tweet.
You know, Jonathan, I'm really surprised by the number of Republicans, including just recently, Hewlett-Packard executive Meg Whitman, a longtime Republican fundraiser, now saying that she's going to vote for Hillary Clinton and will actually help her fundraise, calling Trump, quote, a dishonest demagogue. And she's not the first person to say this. How are these endorsements will sway voter opinion? Will it have an impact on people who are on the fence or other Republican voters?
I don't think many people will listen to Meg Whitman. She's a failed gubernatorial candidate. I don't think her comments make a huge sway. She is fairly well connected in the finance community. She was a fundraiser for Chris Christie, but I would not say that this is going to be the turning point. Do you know what the turning point is? It's people who want to support Trump. You know, I spent the weekend 3 days with Charles Koch, the most powerful donor in the Republican universe, and 400 of his donors in Colorado Springs. Now, Charles Koch's not going to meet with Trump, but I can tell you, a lot of his big donors want to support Trump because they don't want Hillary Clinton. But every time he does this, it just delays the check, delays the check, delays the check. And it's not people like Meg Whitman you've got to worry about. You know, she has hated Trump from the outset. It's the people who want to support him, but he's not letting them support him.
Yeah, there seems to be a sort of a chorus of people who truly do, but just can't seem to get there. Kevin, is there concerns in the GOP over how many party members might actually jump ship before November?
I don't think we know yet. Donald Trump got himself into a corner with this latest fight with a Gold Star family. I think he set a million fires yesterday and the day before just to get himself out of that, to change the subject. He's doing real damage to his candidacy right now, and I think it's going to start showing up in the polls. Whether or not he, he can be reined in any way by his family or by staff defections or by, friends or whoever, remains to be seen, but we haven't seen it yet. And if he goes down this path, I think anything could happen.
Kevin, is there any way he could circle the ship and bring it back on course at this point?
Yeah, he always could have. He could do it now. It's not totally over. He could show some discipline. He could start focusing on Hillary and Hillary exclusively. He could get an economic message that very much would sell with people who are disaffected. It's still a change election. Hillary Clinton is still disliked and untrusted by 65% of the American people or so. She's beatable. He could do this. Why he won't do it, no one knows. Maybe he doesn't really want this. Maybe he doesn't want to be president.
Jonathan, money counts, money matters. You've been talking to those fundraisers. Is there anything they feel that Donald Trump can do at this point to change their mind and to have them help bankroll his campaign?
Well, he's had an improved couple of months of fundraising, but see, the problem is that's the easy money. That's you shake, you get a few people out there, shake a few hands, and you can get that money, 80 million, whatever. It's the next big tranche of money that's a bit more difficult to shake loose. And if he doesn't change his behaviour dramatically, he's not going to get the money. He's going to be outspent by Hillary Clinton and her allies by perhaps more than $500 million in the general election if it continues this way. That would be unprecedented in the modern era.
Okay, Kevin Sheridan and Jonathan Swan, I tell you guys, it certainly makes covering the campaign interesting. There's always something new every morning. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.